Okay, so so the first step for everybody to consider, I asked the students to join. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Okay, so, and I want to make sure that all the students bookmark this because this is not trivial. So I'm going to open a new window. So the first meeting that I have the students present an abstract to, and Tilina and Wesley went to one of these meetings. And let me just see if I can actually show you this. I'm going to go on my Facebook. I have a Facebook page for the lab and every project, and that's where I like to put pictures. And these Facebook pages actually are helpful for when the students apply to. So this is the American Physical Society meeting of October 2020. You can see Tilina here, and you can see Wesley, and you can see Amber Cho, Shori Kana, Ashi Gurijala, Nimit, and Sahal. And so there's the last meeting we went to that was in person. But the key point is that the American Society is, I like the students to make their presentation at conferences that are scientific societies because they have much more weight and value, and they will get to meet and discuss their work with a lot of scientists in the field. And that is very important because they get exposed to me. But then when they get to a meeting, they hear from other professors and research a different perspective. They get a different question. And, you know, understanding is three-dimensional, multifaceted. So you shouldn't get all your influence from one mentor. That's the first thing. And then they get to see people from different universities because maybe they're going to go to this university, that university. But most importantly, the APS is very supportive of young people, young scientists going into research. And they tend to be, in the end, the best organized of the bunch. I don't know if who had experience with you, Raleigh. You presented at the APS 4C last year, right?
Yep, last year.
Or how do you like the organization?
I mean, I think their website, I think they use like, what was it called again? They used some weird platform that I don't think any of us were familiar with before. But I mean, it wasn't that hard to find out. Like after playing with it for a while, I think all of us were pretty familiar with it, and it was really, really organized. I think because all the links were on, the same pages. You could see all the presenters. So yeah, I thought it was pretty well organized, especially considering how they had to make it virtual in such a short amount of time.
Very good. Yeah, so they were the most organized. We had the MRS, which is a very corporate scientific society, materials research society. They have biomaterials, biointerface, biosensors. And oh my God, I don't know who in this group would made the presentation to the MRS. I don't think anybody here. Right, Riley? You didn't go to the MRS.
No,
But
I
Ashi, Nimit's sister, Nimit, can you go on screen? Yash, can you go on screen too, please? Are your parents there?
Yeah, my mom's right here.
Okay, great. And Yash, can you come on screen too, please?
Sorry, I can't. Right, my internet connection is really bad.
Okay, it's okay. But I think I have your mom there somewhere. I think. Anyway, so the key point is that submitting an abstract to the American Society is a publication, which is why I like to do this with high school students, but also undergrad, grad students, because the abstract is due, quote unquote, September 10th, which means that we're going to be working on this abstract starting tomorrow with all the different 5 groups, where I have to finalize today. The time should be going on Zoom to work on it together after you guys do some data and so forth. They have to be submitted by August 30, not September 10th. Okay, so I just absolutely want to beg this group to understand that planning to submit the day is due is shooting yourself not in 1 foot, but 2 foot. Number one, the website are always bogged down. Can somebody talk about that? Riley, you can talk about submitting at the last minute.
Just generally not a great idea. So last year for science fair, that actually happened, and the website crashed, or it didn't crash, but the submission portal closed. So right when we were in mid upload, it actually closed on us. So don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah, it is, but this is not the first time this happened. This has been happening for every meeting for the past 15, 20 years. So again, if there are procrastinator here, or, you know, I think the high school mode with bright students is says, oh yeah, I have a paper due tomorrow, I'll write it tonight, done. Okay, been there, done that. I was one of these bright high school students. Not the right MO in this world. And so the key point is August 30, you have an abstract ready to upload, or I quit, because I have a lot of students and I'm not going to let you send a half-baked abstract. You know me, right? I mean, Wesley, Riley, and Selena know me yet. I'm not sure that the rest knows me yet. Maybe Arush, right? Now, Arush, you went to the APS last year. What did you think about it?
The website was a little weird, but it was a good experience.
Okay. And what did you think about the meeting and interaction and everything?
Well, there's this one guy from New Mexico who
Put your face a bit more on screen.
yeah, sorry. There's this one guy from New Mexico who came into our room and talked to us. But he was a really nice guy, and he gave us a lot of good feedback on our project.
See, that's what's good. You know, Arush had been working with me for 2 years. And then another professor in New Mexico was very interested in the application of InnovaStrip to water analysis. And he got a bunch of ideas and questions. So that put it in a completely different perspectives for him. So there is infinite values. Now, the APS is sort of the only meeting that I know of where they're not going to try to destroy you. They figure out you're a 15-year-old or 16-year-old high school student, and what are you doing presenting a physics abstract to seasoned professors and researchers? They're not going to attack you. They're going to be supportive and help you out, because they're a group of, they always have a Nobel Prize winner speaking at this APS 4C typically. They're a group that understand that the next generation, it is the 14 to 17-year-old that are doing research now, because the strongest indicator of success in the science, medicine, physics is to start young. Okay, every great scientist there is, they were thinking about problems like that, you know, the problems that we're going to contribute to by the time they were 15, 16, 17 in the field. Okay, I always like to cite Blaise Pascal. He wrote a conical treatise at the age of 15, 16. There's a bunch out there. So the point I'm trying to make here, they're supportive. So I am not anxious about sending my student to this meeting because I don't feel I'm sending lambs to the lions. All right. However, the next ones, AVS, which is the other apex, is sending lambs to the lions. I like to put that in. So anyway, now the thing is, all these meetings, so both Riley and Arush, who have different ages, grade, and different level of experience, said that the website was, okay, submitting an abstract, it's like submitting your taxes. It's a pain, it's a hassle, everything has to be just right, or it doesn't work. Do you agree that assessment, Riley and Arush, even though you never filed taxes? And it's all completely different for all of them. So I hate to say this, you know, again, when I was young, you know, we just typed an abstract on the typewriter, mailed it, faxed it, or we would send an email. Now, like everything else, using the web platform makes it way more complicated. And it's just the way it is. So I used to teach a class to my grad students on how to submit abstracts for the MRS, navigate the site. So that's why I show the site now. So the one thing you want to make sure too is that your Wi-Fi doesn't go out, that there is no storm. So if anything can go wrong, it will. Okay. So I had students unable to submit an abstract because there was a storm, then Wi-Fi was knocked off. Now, the one thing that is, what is the most difficult thing about submitting an abstract? Okay, note, you have to be an APS member. You must be a member of the APS to contribute for a talk or a poster. Okay, no question asked. You have to be a member of the society. Everybody got that? And everybody gets a free membership the first year. And then it's like 20 or 30 bucks the second year. Okay, so everybody's clear on that. So parents, I hate to say this, if it's the first year your child is in the group or your student, it's going to be free at the APS. If it's the second year, you're going to have to whip up the credit card or PayPal. Okay, now the submission on the abstract. And so just to sort of, so they have this all click to submit an abstract here. You can withdraw an abstract. Okay, so when you submit an abstract, you submit a signed publication, it's a professional act. So every group has to have a person responsible for the abstract. Once you're responsible for the abstract, you in charge, you responsible. If it goes wrong, we'd get to crucify you, if that makes sense. So they haven't opened yet the window for the abstracts. So this is like starting to go in circle again. I'm not sure that, okay, abstract, submission. So anyway, in a nutshell, they want a certain format. Is going to drive you insane. You're going to have to, okay, there is the abstract manager. You have to have a certain number of characters. So the key point I want to say here, we first going to figure out what we want to say, which is 90% of the work. Okay, very important. I always have this struggle with students. Oh, but we have only like 150 words. I said, I don't care. This is the first time you're stating what you're doing, why, and how, and what you got. You first write what you want to say, and then you shorten it, right, Wesley?
Yeah, definitely. It's better to have that long, thorough abstract before you cut down, and then you can really fine tune it so that it's really precise and it really conveys your message.
And you save the lengthy thing because you're going to need it to build your presentation. Because once you send the abstract, it's not like sending a letter in a bottle in the ocean. You know, the whole ship has to follow. So don't let that ship sail away from you. Save all your writing and all your analysis. Okay, I can't emphasize enough. So Riley and Tilina and Wes, how long does it take to write an abstract? Okay, I'm met with silence. So
I think it depends on
the first time.
I feel like the first time it took a couple weeks to like finalize.
Just to finalize, it typically takes a month. Okay, so just so that you know what you're up against. Oh, we're gonna write an abstract 150 words. We're gonna do that in 10 minutes. No, it's gonna take 10 days minimum if you're experienced. And then if it's your first time, 20 days. So August 30, that's a realistic target date if we start tomorrow. So I don't know. It doesn't let me show the thing, but just be prepared. It's a nightmare. You always type your abstract in a doc file. You send it to all your co-authors. You have all your affiliation. Now, the good news is that because everybody's a member of the APS, the one thing that this platform does right, when you start typing a name, it actually finds a person's full name, his or her affiliation, phone number, and email. You don't have to type it in. That has happened the past 3 years. Years before, it was 20 hours to enter the stupid abstract. Just getting everybody's name right, everybody's email right, and so forth. So if you finish tedious, think again and do to be worse. And it's like that with all the platform. And then you write, you abstract in the doc form, you email it to all you can offer. Nobody ever writes an abstract without talking to anyone. Okay, anybody does that, they get fired on the spot. This is not how it works. An abstract is a collective submission. And the point is you get your team and your team names on, and they all proofread and edit and contribute. Now, I've had a few students, not high school students, but undergrad and grad students, they would go to the computer, write an abstract and submit. And then I had to intervene and call the organizer of the meeting saying, we've drawn that abstract. It does not have my approval. Not because I wanted to be nasty, but because the abstract was bad. Why was it bad? So why do you think somebody would just write on his or her own an abstract? The abstract by definition would be bad. And they had a lot of errors, and it wasn't just my definition of a good abstract. Tilina and Wesley and Riley, the three that have experience writing abstracts. Why is it that if you go write on your own an abstract without having it carefully proofread, it's not going to be any good?
I think you definitely need to work together to point out what's good and what's bad. I think just through personal experience, Tilna can probably, and Riley can probably expand more, but like me, Tilna, and Nikhil, we always catch each other's mistakes. We work together and we brainstorm and edit the whole thing together and to ensure that everything's right. And I sure if we just wrote it by ourselves, there'd be a lot of errors and it would, there might be some inconsistency. So it's important to work together. And
Yeah, very, very good. That's exactly it. Now I have a lot of model of abstract, and I can show the students. I give access. I would give access to the new students to previous abstracts, and then, you know, in the subgroup, all the seasoned people like Riley, Wes, and Selena, be sure to send some previous abstract to Nimitz, to Rihanna, Riley, so that they have an idea what is expected. That makes sense? Yes? No?
yep, yes.
Okay, so I'm counting on you to help there because it's a tremendous amount of work for me to do the hand holding, as you well know. Okay, so last year was sort of a nightmare, and I'm sorry, I just don't know why whenever I work live on this stupid computer, it always has to fight me, but bear with me. There is some issue with the Mac and the precision of the key. So APS abstract, so please show me these abstracts. Okay, Riley Rain, APS 2020, she must have heard. Riley, do you have your abstract there that you can find it easily? These are all, by the way, the analysis and the PowerPoint version of Riley's presentation. I really want to emphasize, it's not for the faint of heart, but it's doable, right, Riley?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, abstracts. Okay, I have the AVS abstract here. I'll go for the AVS abstract because we have to keep moving. It's already 9 o'clock, but okay, AVS abstracts. So this was, okay, this is not even, okay, so there we go. So this is an abstract that was accepted for Chilina Balasoria for the American Vacuum Society meeting for this fall. And this is the abstract. Okay, and I can tell you there's a 2-page backup paper that he submitted to the American Vacuum Society to convince them to accept this paper. So, and that worked. Okay, it's the most prestigious conference to have a paper accepted. Okay, and again, these societies, they archive the meetings. The abstract is a publication. So it means that, for example, the APS4C, you submit August 30. The conference is extremely fast. It happens mid-October, so that by mid-October, you'll be a published author. Okay, so is that powerful? Well, October 8, 9. Okay, so now let's talk. So we'll focus on that one for now, not to overwhelm you guys with all this information, because I don't think you remember anything. So my task is to get from every group. So there are 5 groups, and I sent a text message when I outlined this research group. So when I ask, okay, do you want an abstract? I really mean there's going to be 1 abstract per team or 2 maximum. And I really would like to limit it to maybe 5 to 7 abstract. Last year, we had 10 presentations at the APS4C, right, Riley?
Yeah, we had a lot.
Yeah, and so I don't want to go too much pressure. And I had, you know, Sahal helping and Lauren and everything. So I want maximum 7 abstract, that's it. But there are 5 groups, and let me try to see now in my text here. So I wasn't able, okay, so message failure, I think. So let me just try to get to the text. So I just want everybody to, maybe not. See, I mean, I cannot send from my computer with iMessage the link. So let me see. I couldn't send to the whole group. Again, I'm not quite sure what's happening here with the. So, okay, I'm not gonna try. But anyway, there are 5 groups. I ask everybody to send me a group chat for each of the 5 groups with who is a member. And there's going to be a lead for each abstract. There is the corresponding author, and then you co-author. So everybody will have a chance to contribute to an abstract. You can have your name on 2 abstracts if you worked on 2 projects, not a problem. But you have to contribute. Now, to start writing an abstract, you first have to reduce your data, like say Kush and Yash. I don't think Yash is there. Is Yash there? Or is mom and dad are there? Nirala? Okay. Yash, Sony, anybody from, yeah, the Sony's there. Okay, Kush.
I think Josh put in the chat that he had to leave early.
Okay, so Kush, you're probably going to be in charge. Okay, I mean, half of life is showing up, so you're not there. Somebody else gets the leadership. Now, in the letter recommendation, I emphasize leadership, organization, being able to work with others. So I hate to say this, but you get brownie pounds when you gather people and have them communicate together. Wesley and Tina have been really good about this, for example, and Riley as well. So that's why Wesley has been part of the group for 4 years now, right?
I think both Tilna and I both around 4 years now.
Yes. So and that's what it takes to train a scientist. So anyway, so Kush, you're in charge for the UV sterilization abstract group. And so you need to get your team to reduce your power curve, because the abstract is going to focus on looking at the stability and output, power output of these UV source quartz versus LED, and then the impact of sterilization rate. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so Riley is in charge of the InnovaBug group, and I think Vidya is right here, and V and Viraj are interested. So we can have 2 or even 3 abstracts on InnovaBug, depending. But the key point, the core InnovaBug abstract is going to be the innovation of being able to detect pathogen in a drop of physiological fluid, whether it is tears or blood, urine, amniotic fluid, using a methodology that uses fluorescent dye and that measures the amount of fluorescence coming out from the DNA, RNA of the bacteria and virus. Right, Riley? And so Riley did a proof of concept, and we're now moving to more quantitative. I'm working on this weekend. And so, but there are many aspects of this, like Kush and the UV team, they're going to show some InnovaBug result and refer to Riley's paper, because we use InnovaBug to detect the kill rate from the UV source they're testing and comparing, right, Kush? And then looking at the effective angle. Okay, so, and then where is V? He just disappeared. Oh, there he is. Sorry, it somehow keeps moving around here. So key point is, you know, V, and Viraj could have a second abstract where we look more closely at the quantification of the kill rate using the overview. Riley is going to give an overview. What is InnovaBug, how it works, proof of concept, and then application to sterilization, which is like an explain. You'd have 10 minutes to explain your business. So you have to realize that even if we had just one abstract per topic, we couldn't explain everything. So Riley is going to do the motherhood presentation. What is InnovaBug? Everybody who uses InnovaBug has to explain that. And then what is the concept and the problem it seeks to address that's unique to Riley? And then what is a proof of concept? And then how can you apply it? How can you test the quantification aspect using UV sterilization? That's going to be Riley's talk. But then going to detail on the sterilization studies, V and Viraj have worked last few weeks, so they'll be most placed with an abstract there. Sounds like a plan? So, and I'm going to teach you, you know, there's a whole process. Those who've gone through APS 4C and all these meetings, Wesley, Tina, and Riley, and they're very helpful, supportive, they're leaders. You can always ask them something if I'm not available because I'm swamped somewhere else. But you know, when they got to the point where they had the abstract submitted, accepted after doing the data analysis, and then had put together presentation. Now, doing the presentation, how long does it take, guys, to put together a PowerPoint presentation? So Wesley is smiling, Riley smiling.
A good week or 2 or 3. I mean, the earlier the better. I remember mine took, I mean, it was my first presentation last year, so mine did take a little while, but I'd say at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 weeks for all the newbies off the bat. So I just want you to give you a realistic view. No, you're not going to just take 10 slides and then type some random words, put some pictures, and be done in an hour or two, which is sort of what we did at the beginning of the summer, right, Kush?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be much more in depth than that. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of this. Okay, because I've had, again, a few catastrophes with students thinking, oh, you know, I've done presentation before, tickety-click, you know, font 12, Calibri, completely amorphous statement, not properly articulated, wrong vocabulary, ambiguous statement, making conclusion without having any really thing to support it. No. Okay. Our group, 70% of our students won award at the APS last year. 70% of our students won awards at the Science Fair. One group, Tina and Wesley and Nikhil, went to different science fair. So we don't did a lot to do. If you think it's good enough, and I don't think so, it's not. I really want to emphasize that. We just don't cut corners. And so, and again, if it's too much pressure, I don't want to oppress anybody, stress them out, say, okay, I can't cope with this. Just say so, speak up. Honesty is the best currency. It's the only thing you bring to this world, you integrity. So if you tell me, guy, it's too much, I can't get this talk done because I have finals, I have to take the PSAT, I have an assignment due. It's fine. You don't need to die for this, okay? I can't really emphasize this. And why do I say that? I was a prof at MIT. I had students at Caltech. I just do not allow students to go to some kind of spiral where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't cope with this. No, you just, if you're in distress, you just say so. But on the other hand, I will not let you submit a half-baked abstract that's going to be rejected or make a presentation that's going to be embarrassing for yourself and your team. Because remember that once you start writing scientifically, everything you do, everything you present, it's not just about you. You represent your professor, your university, and all your classmates. So any bad presentation with abstract doesn't just reflect on you, but on the team. It's like climbing a mountain, everybody's on the rope. If you slip and you fall, all the people attached to the rope fall too. Again, not to try to stress you, but to give you a sense of what this is about. It's not about you, something bigger than you, because that's what science is about. Said simply. Okay, so we have 3 weeks to get 5 to 7 abstracts out, one for each research group, and then a few more where there's a lot of material, like say in the InnovaBug group. And every abstract that is on the InnovaStrip site, not on the InnovaStrip, I'm sorry, on the UV sterilization and so forth, is going to be using InnovaBug, and it's perfectly fine. I can't emphasize enough to have the same concept using different abstracts, because again, you will see, and I think that Riley and Wesley, you can attest to that, right?
Yes, definitely. You can have multiple.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can have multiple on the same topic as long as you talk about different aspects. Like I know InnovaBug and InnovaStrip, it's such a broad topic that there's just too much information to fit in one talk possibly.
And you know, Wesley and Tina typically they have their own abstracts on InnovaStrip, and Wesley focuses on the design of the device and the experimental result, while Tina focuses on the analysis and the algorithm and the code to extract quickly blood composition information in less than 60 seconds after applying a few drops on the device. But they each explain what InnovaStrip is. So the other thing, and that's a mistake that everybody does, not just high school students, you have to explain what you're doing, even if somebody else does it. If you explain what InnovaBug is, Riley will go that into depth. You still have to explain on the slide what is InnovaBug. You can never, never assume that the person in front of you knows what you're talking about. Even if there was a talk in the hundreds of talks that was explaining it. Even if the person was interested and went to the InnovaBug talk of Riley, they're not going to remember after watching another 100 talks what InnovaBug is. Does that make sense to you guys? So the only worthwhile talk, the one that people like, that is understood and remembered, is the one that teaches something, that explains. So the most important thing to know is an abstract is not a collection of ideas and results that you just put in a bag and shake up and looks like a Lego piece. No, it is an explanation. If you can't explain and describe what you're doing, it's not an abstract. It's not obvious from what they require, but you have to remember this. It's not a recitation of facts. I say this because everybody starts with recitation of facts, which is fine. You can start with that because you just, say, okay, we did this, we did that, we did that. That's fine as a starting point, but it's not an abstract. An abstract is the reasoned presentation of an investigation and a scientific question where you did some progress. It is not a recitation of facts and do's. Okay, so I think that I sort of got to a general idea here. So what I need now is on my calendar to have scheduled with each team leader at least a weekly or bi-weekly Zoom meeting. So I don't know, Riley, Wesley, Kush, I wish is from is with the Innovative group, or Nimit, if you have gotten a time. I'm trying to wrap the meeting in less than an hour. Admire, always working to better myself. I mean, Riley, Wesley, and Tina know that my meetings tend to go 2-3 hours. Right, Wesley?
Yes, but they're always productive and interesting.
Yeah, I don't quit until we get the job done. So. Okay, so anybody has a date yet? Because that was the assignment on your side for this meeting.
For InnovaBug, maybe Monday and Thursday would work best.
Okay, what time?
Does everyone in InnovaBug get out at 4:45 or 5?
Vidya?
On what day? You said Mondays and
Thursday.
Okay, so I'm sending this to the Innova.
On Mondays and Thursdays, I should be good from like 2:30 to like 6. I'm free.
Okay, so Riley, how about 3 p.m.? Unless you have.
That should work for me. Does that work for Vishesh and Viraj too?
Sorry, at what time?
3 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays.
I get out at 3:40.
Okay,
school.
so let's just put it at 4 o'clock then.
I'm fine.
V?
I'm fine with either one, 3 or 4. Viraj gets out at 3:40 though, so he could either join us later. We could just start at 4.
Well,
either
I don't want you to miss anything because I know everybody has a lot of things to do, so we can do 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And then because I'll take a nap before, so I'll be in visible shape. And then you guys, you come from school, you just have to have some tea or a snack or whatever. It's very hard to switch from one activity to another. How do I know? Been there, done that. Okay, so I got InnovaBug. Okay, how about InnovaStrip? So InnovaBug is detecting pathogens in 5 minutes. So InnovaStrip, that's Wesley and Tina. Wesley.
Helena, are you free Thursday afternoon? And Arush and Rihanna and Ashwin, I think.
Oh, what time?
Thursday evening?
Yeah, that should work. Oh, actually, wait. It's like after 7?
Yeah, like
Yes,
after
8 p.m.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay, so I'm sending it to the wrong people, but just send to your group because I have this message failure. I don't know why. So Wesley, you're the point man right now. I don't think Tivina is on. Just his dad
Yeah,
is.
he has some math exam, so he to finish it tonight. So he went, but I think he's okay Thursday evening. As far as I know, he doesn't have anything Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, and then in the grand scheme of things, I also, and this is part of the acrobatics of running research group with students, grad students, or whatever. So Tivina and Wesley have a very intense October because and Raleigh, because all the college applications are due November 1st, right? Wesley?
A lot of the programs and earlies are due November 1st, I know.
Yes.
A lot of it.
Okay, that hasn't changed. So the key point is they're gonna get priority to get the abstract done, but they'll be faster than you guys, the newbies, and to get their presentation done by Labor Day. So my goal is to spend Labor Day weekend because Tivina, Wesley, and I don't know about Riley, but you guys have also presented at the EVS meeting, right? Which is due in October, but you'll be busy. So we're gonna do all this by Labor Day weekend. Okay, and we won't go in the lab Labor Day weekend. I changed that because since there has still been no response from anywhere about trying to squash that new wave, people are just going in merry ways like, oh yeah, let's just have 20,000 people get COVID. Let's just get 150,000 hospital. Let's just get another 2,000 dead, 20% kids and move on. No. So the key point is we're not going to lab on Labor Day because it's going to be too risky. Because ASU has a 10% increase in enrollment somehow. So the campus is going to be filled to the gills. So like the PSF 206 room where we used to meet all summer, that room will be booked from 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. every day. Well, maybe not 11 p.m., but just to give you a sense of what's happening. In the corridor where we always meet, full of students. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make here, but it's all going to work out because again, this is the third year that we're doing research with the pandemic, and it's not that different than what I've been doing for 10 years. Okay, so we have a time for InnovaStrip. So how about the UV sterilization? Kush, Arjun.
I haven't received my school schedule yet. I received that tomorrow. So can I get back to you tomorrow about when I'll be free?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then Arjun, can you work with Kush?
I'm part of the InnovaStrip.
Oh, you're part of InnovaStrip. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Kush is the only one with UV sterilization here right now.
Yeah, and then I'll talk to Yash about it.
Sounds good. Okay, so we've done InnovaStrip. So I've done InnovaBug, InnovaStrip, UV sterilization. Okay, gallium arsenide. That's Nimitz, Sidhu, and AJ, right?
Yeah, and Pranav. I'm trying to figure it out with them right now, but I think they're all doing something right now. So I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, and so then piezo is Shreya, who is not there. So there we go. Okay, so that's pretty simple. 929. Aren't you guys impressed? So in final analysis, so the ladder is this: APS 4C abstract. We want to be finished by August 30, so that I can focus on Wesley, Riley, and Tivina to get the presentation done and recorded because they won't be free in October. Then I'll move on with the newbie, and you guys can watch the process for InnovaStrip, InnovaBug while I'm doing it, so you learn how to put a PowerPoint together. One thing is that the team approach is essential. Okay, this is not one-on-one tutoring. So whenever your group is doing something, you got to be there. You can't say, oh, Dr. Herbots, can I catch up with you and learn how to make a PowerPoint review one-on-one this weekend? No, because this is not high school. This is graduate research, and this is part of you maturing, learning to work as a team. The most important feature that college interview, job interview, internship interview do is to test whether you can work as a team and not individually, because this is somehow a more and more decreasing skill because of computerization and increasing social isolation in modern society. and because of COVID. So for instance, when Shoria Khanna and a bunch of other students had their college interview in the first year of COVID on Zoom, the college's admissions, they would bring 4 or 5 students together and say, hey, choose a topic, make a presentation, we'll be back in an hour. And that's a very well-known technique of interviewing industry. You know, I've worked for IBM, AT&T, and Medtronic and all these places. You just get a few interviewees together and you just watch where they can spit out something, or they just eat each other alive and they get nothing done. So kind of thing. But I'm just throwing it out there because people perform best when they know what the expectation is. So in a sense, you have to think about it. This is like playing a video game, but I am telling you how to get to level 12 by just giving you the back doors in the video game. Does this make sense? You guys all play video games, right? The new generation, maybe not the parents, but anyway. But I've raised 2 sons, so I had enough to hear about video games. So the key point is this. So I'm just trying to tell you, this is like it is. I could just say nothing and say, well, you know, whatever, do the best you can. But working with others, organizing your team is paramount. That is the single most important feature that they'll ask me to comment on in the letter of recommendation. Besides saying, yeah, when the student is a good student, dedicated, hardworking, good grades, no problem there. Okay. Because everybody knows having a GPA of 4.0 and a SAT of 2400, etc. So what do the college do? You've seen all the IVs are now dropping the SAT scores. You've seen that, right? Because too many people are getting a perfect score, so they can't discriminate. So anyway, so it's getting a bit more subtle. But anyway, so I think we got where we need to be for tonight. So after the APS 4C, abstract submission, being successfully accepted, and then producing a PowerPoint that's probably going to be uploaded in September. So Labor Day, we'll have at least 3 done. And everybody on Labor Day has to plan to be on Zoom, working with Raleigh and me and the team, or with Wesley and Tilina and me and the team, and learn how we're going to put it together. Now, there has to be also some data analysis, but we'll work on that in the meetings that we're scheduling now, like Monday and Thursdays, right, Raleigh?
Mm-hmm.
And Wesley. Okay, so there's that. So now we'll have then the MRS. So the MRS, and this is what I want to finish. The MRS has a late news abstract call. I swear they don't have the act together, but they are very corporate, very important. They're the largest material science society in America. So, you know, and they're good. I've been going there. It's just, I haven't been too impressed with their platform. You haven't presented the MRS, right, Wesley?
Not individually, but we worked, I think Tone and I worked on one for Nikhil, like we all worked on it.
Yeah. So anyway, there was a late news hot topics abstract submission. This is very prestigious, but we could submit another abstract for InnovaBug. And the reason I'm showing it, this is you submit an abstract in September, and it is presented and published by November, December. So, and then the virtual experience, I can't even start to understand this, but they're trying to do a hybrid in person and online. Now, why is it not on the same days? It's beyond me. But anyway, so I'll figure this out. You know, they're always inventing. That's what drives me nuts for the MRS. They used to be predictable, and now it's like, oh, let's try this, let's try that. Anyway, so key point is Riley and V and Viraj, the InnovaBug team. You're gonna have material, and you've said that you could present at the MRS, maybe in one abstract, something like that. And so, and that will be due, of course, lovely. It's due. So the meeting is 111 days. That's not very useful, but the call for papers, late news. So the late news is really, oh, this is innovative. They're trying to make it. It's the largest material science meeting in the world. It's 8,000 people typically. So it's hard to stand out among 8,000 people. The APS is nice that way. It's about 200 to 400 presentation. So you actually get to know everybody, but 8,000, give me a break. But the late news session is going to be 100 people. But we have a pretty good chance because people haven't been in the lab, you know, as we can mention, all the labs have been closed at USC for a year. So, and so I just don't want to too much emphasize the result in the sense that the most important thing is to communicate what we are working on, why it matters, how we are doing it, and the results we have now. One thing to realize, you do not need to have solved the problem. Okay, this is not the PhD thesis. You guys are high school students, undergrad, and you've been working on this for 2 months. Now, Riley, obviously, she's been working on NovaBug, oh my gosh, for a year, let's say. And Wesley and Tina and the NovaStrip group, we've been working NovaStrip itself since 2018 and really hammer drop the coating that makes NovaStrip possible since 2015. Okay, so we have a lot of depth behind that. So the point I'm trying to make here, it's a snapshot conferences where the research is. It's not like an archival journal article when you sort of discuss the whole problem and review it. It is a snapshot, it's a progress report. Very rigorous, because people have to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you did it, and that this is really has some potential. Got that? Does that make sense, Wesley, Riley? Do you agree with all this?
Yes.
So the MRS, and then a quick thing. Okay. Platform. I think the AVS is the worst, right? Or maybe it was the science fair. So anyway, the AVS meeting is going to be November. All these meetings are in the fall. Don't know why, but it's just the way it is. So Tilida and Wesley have papers there. And so what is really funny with the AVS, they didn't accept any abstract last year. They canceled the meeting. They didn't, but they just didn't have a meeting with original presentation. So this year they told us they were accepting of abstract of this year and last year. So we have like 8 abstracts. I mean, Wesley is laughing, but there are 3 on InnovaStrip, right?
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there are 3 NovaStrip. There are like at least 2 on gallium arsenide. There's actually 1 on 2 of piezo, but not to worry. So the AVS, so in the ladder, so APS is the easiest one. MRS, they were actually very nice to Ashi and Sahal last year. We had a nice discussion, Zoom-like with 9 to 10 people. But they had a poster. Now Nikhil had the talk. I could never even see the talk. So there were some glitches. So the MRS, just be prepared, be zen. It might not work very well. But the key point is the MRS is the next level, 8,000 scientists. Yeah. Now the American Vacuum Society is sort of one of the most prestigious physics and chemistry meeting. And so this is where they tear you apart. So I don't let students dare make talk unless I'm confident they're really prepared, which Wesley and Tina are, right? You have a talk and a poster, 1 talk, 2 posters, or how is that?
Yeah, I think it's 1 talk, 2 posters.
Okay, that's good. So anyway, and so the idea is that typically the abstracts for the AVS is due in May. So only the students who work in the group at least 2 years get to submit to the AVS, but that's a good thing, because I don't want to have a student with less than a year experience going to the AVS, because they're going to be torn apart by the lions. It's like feeding the lions to the lions. Riley's laughing. You have an abstract at the AVS?
I think I'm a co-author on one of the piezo abstracts.
Okay, very good. Okay, we'll need you. Okay, so that's about it in the grand scheme of things. Okay. So we're gonna submit 5 to 7 abstract APS, 5 to 7 talk. I'll try not to lose my mind. And then we're gonna have like 8 presentation at DVS, but these are pretty mature talks. We have 2-page paper on each, so it'll be a lot easier. And it's all with mature students, or almost. And then we might submit some more abstract for the MRS. You know, I won't say for kicks, but sort of, maybe 1 in the late news. You submit just 1 abstract to late news. So I think the InnovaBug is the best candidate. But you know, InnovaStrip could be there too. Anyway, okay, so any questions before I close the meeting? I did know everybody with information. I'm good at that. Does this make all sense to you, Janaka? Janaka is a professor at ASU, so.
Yeah, that's certainly, yeah, it makes sense. And, what you're doing with these, high school kids is amazing. So I think I can see how Tilina actually, learn how to do research and write papers. That's wonderful. So at his level, I think he's you did an amazing job to bring these kids up.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of it is experience. I had very young students at MIT. One of my top grad students was 16 when he joined MIT, did 3 years undergrad, then he did his PhD with me in like 2-3 years. So, and just learning how students learn and get trained, young people really helped me figure out how to do it. The main thing is lay out the calendar, lay out the expectation. And, so they know what they're up against, because once you know how high the mountain is, you can figure out how to climb it. But if you don't know what a mountain is and you have no idea how high it is, how can you plan your trip and how many days, right? So, and so Abby and Shivali, this all makes sense to you, the roadmap?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're muted.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I just striving for clarity, so the parents know the dates. And again, if the students have finals or PSAT or interviews or whatever, we'll plan around that. But that's why I want to give the calendar now, today, August 8th, so that October 8th, we're like, oh my gosh, I can't make a presentation. I have to take a final exam. You follow that? So it's all in the planning. So Preeti and Vidya, you newer. So how does this all sound to you?
It sounds good for me. I think my mom is she's on here, but I don't think she can talk, but
that's okay. But does the roadmap make sense to you, Vidya?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And you're gonna be mentored by Riley. So you're gonna see where this all goes. And you're in 11th grade. So you'll get, if you want to submit an abstract with EVS in May, because you'll be senior next year. And so each abstract has a corresponding author who manages the correspondence, the submission, communicates with the whole group. It was accepted. It's going to be presented this and this. And you learn from Riley how it is done, learning by doing and watching. And so you'll be able to take over next year for your senior research project, or just for your senior year. So, and Jay, how does this sound to you? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, this sounds like a plan.
Okay, so it's all clear, and no stress, right? I really want to underline that. So because I had many students getting stressed last year, the year before. So being proactive and knowing that, right, Riley, I try to respond when somebody's in distress, right?
Yeah, yep, definitely. Just always reach out if you're stressed out.
Yeah, the essence of life is that you reach out. You're never alone. You're only alone when you don't reach out. That's all there is to it. So V, you were undergrad, so you're older than the rest of the group here. So how does it sound to you? Sounds like a plan?
Yep, it sounds like a plan. I still have some weeks off too, so I will be getting to work on writing the abstracts pretty soon.
Yes, and then the key point is so that, I've been keeping going in with V, and Kush came one more day. So we still tying some loose ends, shall we say, or continuing the research with the pathogen. Today we switched to E. coli. Long story, I'm not going to go into this. So, but I really want to emphasize, I am not comfortable having anybody on campus during regular business hours now, because we have this wave of students coming from all over the world. ASU is a very international university, like any university should be. And so it's going to be a focus of infection. Yeah. So, but we planning to go maybe in the evening, because, the building where the mice is an old building. So the air is not recycled. So when there are a bunch of students, and they had all this big auditorium, the atmosphere is going to be loaded with airborne viral particles. But once they evacuate, because we have several room air change on the hour, the airs will be renewed, the virus will be flushed out. So I'm comfortable going at 4 or 5 in the evening with V because he's an adult. And I said Viraj would come because V's sort of a guardian then for Viraj. But I just want to say, so you're wondering, why isn't she inviting us to come on campus? That's why. I just don't think it's safe. You know, ASU is a mandate, doesn't have mandate requirement wearing mask. My husband is doing the freshman intro week in physics, and not, you know, there's at least I would say 20% not wearing masks, so it's just not the right thing. So, but we'll see if by mid-October, so it's sort of tight because it's going to be 3 weeks before the infection crest and enough people die that the behavior is going to change. And then it takes about 6 weeks to flush out all the people hospitalized and get a significant decay in infection. So the earliest that we can go back on campus is going to be October 12th or October 9th, the fall break. But we'll reassess because God knows where we were at then. There might be another variant showing up, and then who knows? Okay, but that's how things look like now. Okay, but we keep you posted on what we're doing in the lab. We all understand now what we're doing. You've done it, so you can use the results that we're producing. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining tonight. Again, if you have any question, text me that you think about after I close the meeting. And no questions, right? Anybody has any questions left? Okay, well, we should all go to our rest now. And I'll see you guys on Zoom. Riley tomorrow, InnovaBug team. 4 o'clock, did we say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then InnovaSuite Thursday, and then the gallium arsenide team, let me know. And the UV strategies will let me know as well. All right, it's a go. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. And you guys take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Herbal.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Herbal.
Bye.